Now we are going to listen to a speaker that we believe fulfills our hashtag Experienced Everywhere the best. He will tell us about a game he designed for isolated children in hospitals, an IXDA Interaction Award winner, Jansweijer.
Is the microphone? Yes, the microphone is working. I'm always a little bit anxious to see if the microphone works in the first try. I'm delighted that it does now. How are you doing? Are the energy levels a little better after the break, maybe? Yes? Good. So let's get started. My name is Job Jansweijer. I'm the founder and designer of KonneKt, which is a game for isolated children in hospitals. And when I explain the game to people, I often get the question, how did you come up with this? So that's what I'm going to address in this presentation, the user research and the iterative designing that led to the final design. When I was asked, a little bit unrelated, but when I was asked a few years back by the Delft municipality, my hometown, to design something for loitering youth hanging around on the streets, I was a little bit worried, because I'm not sure what the street culture is in Turkey, but in the Netherlands, loitering youth is seen as a nuisance, as aggressive, and sometimes even dangerous. So I was kind of worried to start talking to them, to learn more about their lives. But when I took the step and finally walked up to them and started talking to them, it was a really cool experience. I had a lot of fun, and I really understood why they were hanging out on the streets, because, well, they were just talking, and it was very gezellig, which is a Dutch word for nice and cozy, and we had nice conversations. So they really surprised me. Oh, wrong button. When I started my graduation project 2.5 years ago for child cancer patients, I kind of felt scared again. I was scared to start talking to these cancer patients because I was afraid that, of course, these children are very ill and it's a very sad environment, so I was really hesitating if I wanted to take that assignment and start talking to the children. And I expected the children to be very ill. Surely they wouldn't want to talk to me in the state they were in. I had some ideas about what child cancer is, and the words I thought of were death, boldness, chemotherapy, unfair. So I had some associations and preconceptions about child cancer. So I decided to at least make the interviews very nice and to turn them into a game. So I took Snakes and Ladders, which is a pretty well-known game, pretty lame game, but well, suitable for my purpose. And I created question cards with questions about their life in the hospital, and they would have to roll a dice, and if they would end up on an orange square, then they would have to answer a question. And I made different kinds of question cards. So I had cards where they had to enact their question. I had cards where they had to tell about their question, or draw their answer, sorry. So I tried to make it fun by doing different kinds of things. This game didn't work at all. It was terrible. It was a disaster. It was meant for 2 children, and it turned out that children often weren't allowed to be in the same room. The things I came up with as fun, like enacting and drawing, turned out to be restrictions to expressing their answers. So there were a lot of things wrong with this interview setup. So I decided to continue and to make it better, to make something new. And in the end, I made something with a lot of envelopes, and every envelope would have generative materials in them. So some envelopes would contain finger puppets, some envelopes would contain stickers, but all envelopes would come with an assignment. So the assignment in this envelope, for example, was make a picture of your friends, and then while the children were doing that, I would ask them questions about their friends and how their relation with their friends changed since they were diagnosed with cancer, and about how they felt about that, of course. And the other example is their room. Of course, I didn't really care what their room looked like because, well, I could see that. I could look around and see where the bed was. But what I did care about was their stories about the room. So which places did they like, which places didn't they like. And that gave me a lot of insights in what was important for them. This is me with a comprehensive oversight of all my insights. As you can maybe tell, this interview setup did work. Maybe the most important insight from the interview, from all the user research, was this. All of the words on this slide relate to cancer, and none of these words relate to being a child. I associate being a child with climbing trees, having fun, playing, explore. And although all the orange words are true, all the blue words are applicable as well. A child does not cease to be a child when he or she is ill. And the children told me really nice stories about what they did, what was going on in the hospital. So one girl told me about hospital ding-dong ditch, which is, they have this button which they can use to call a nurse when there's something going on. And what some children do is they press this button and then they hide under the sheets when the nurse comes, and they pretend to be asleep. So this is playing with the environment. Or they told me about the IV poles. They have these poles on wheels with plastic bags on them, and they're really big and inconvenient, and they have to carry them around with them on the wheels. But they organize races in the hallways with those poles, so the children use the environment to play with. Unfortunately, I also learned that isolation is a big problem for child cancer patients. In some cases, it's quite often children have to be isolated. They cannot leave their rooms, and in some cases this can take up to 4 months. And in this period, they have no way of playing or getting into contact with other children in the hospital, even though this is very important for them and they still want to play. So this was a problem I wanted to solve. So one of the ideas I had was playing a game on the window. So I just took some tape. This is a photo of my faculty. I was in a room next to the main hall. I had a window, and I just used some tape to start a game of tic-tac-toe, just to see what would happen. This didn't work. This didn't work either, because the other side cheated. I would place a move, and then I would be gone, and then the other side would have placed 2 moves, so I lost all the time. I'm not very good at losing, and it's a stupid game anyway. So, well, this didn't work. I tried some other things, maybe chess or different kinds of games. But all these setups were still kind of restrictive, because I found different kinds of play in the hospital, and I categorized them into three personas, 3 types of play, of which the first was the gamer, who likes things like tic-tac-toe and chess, or games with rules that are determined. The second category is the thinker who likes to build things and to make things. So there was a girl telling about the things they used to puke in. She made sailing boats out of them. So that's a thinker who likes to make pretty things. And the third persona is the adventurer who likes to explore, do hospital ding-dong ditch, do naughty stuff, explore boundaries, and create your own rules and create your own games. So this chess and this tic-tac-toe was only suitable for the first persona and not for the other two. So there was another iteration. I filled a box with everything I could find that would stick on a window. It contained suction cups, ropes, paper. I had pens, magnets, plastic things. And I just went to the hospital and gave the box to two children to see if they would start building things. And this worked pretty well. They were building houses on wheels and pyramids. So children were really starting to play together. And I also noticed that play attracts play. So two children were playing, and then other children would tag along. They would join the play. So this was already pretty nice. Of course, I wanted to further improve it. It was a little messy. There were a lot of different elements, and I wanted to make the game more provocative. So I wanted to elicit the creativity of the children who played with it. So I made foam shapes of different shapes. That could mean anything. So some children would say this is a UFO or an octopus. It's really up to the children to use the shapes to create their own games. And they can attach that to the window with suction cups or with magnets. And the cool thing about magnets is that you need someone on the other side to build something, and you can actually move things on both sides of the window. So I went to the hospital again to test my new concept, and then this happened. If you can play the movie with sound. Yes. Almost. With sound, please. So that worked pretty well, and both children and parents were really enthusiastic, and so I decided to continue, and now the game is actually available. So some of the things you can make with this are a cart with a wagon, or you can still play tic-tac-toe. I don't, but you can do it. You can build a horse. This one was made by my cousin. This one was made by another cousin, a jungle. They're both in their 30s, by the way, but apparently it's interesting for both children and adults, I guess. I had to put this in. This is the Queen of the Netherlands playing with my game. Obviously, I'm very proud of this picture. It's really cool. So, as I said, the game is available now, and I'm making it. And we're coming to the end of my presentation. Some of the things you could take away from my process, I think, are it's very important to know who you are designing for. You will be surprised by who your users are if you start to get to know them. And I think it's really hard, if not impossible, to design a meaningful product for your users if you don't know them. You can adapt your research method to your users. So if you're doing something with children, do something playful. If you're doing something with elderly, do something else. And also very important is do fail and learn and repeat. It's okay to fail on your first attempt. It's okay to make something that doesn't work as long as you learn from it and further improve that. And you can do this for both your research method and your final product. And last point is, stickers are pretty cool. If you're ever doing research with children, you should use stickers. This is my presentation. If you'd like to do user research with me, talk to me somewhere in the break. Thanks a lot for listening.